The women's lacrosse team begins its season with a win against UMBC, while the baseball team starts their own with 2 strong performances. Hello, I'm Jake Smolinski.
And I'm Rigney. Both the swimming and diving and track and field teams gear up for their respective championships, and the club ice hockey team captures a trophy of its own. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine. Here's an prompter. Here's an prompter. Salutations there, viewer. Jake and Brendan here with you on this episode. Another great one as we have our second edition of Coaches and Coffee with yours truly, while Jake presents his own sit-down with members of the club ice hockey team fresh off their championship win on Valentine's weekend.
And that's right, Brendan. And it gets even better. Later, Eddie Dunn joins to give us some exploring headlines, followed by Marquee matchup with Tim Durante. But first, let's catch up on what went down this past week for our athletes. The LaSalle women's lacrosse team had their first game of the season on Saturday, February 14th against the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The Explorers beat the UMBC Retrievers 10-9 in overtime thanks to senior midfielder Aaron McCabe's goal in the final 20 seconds of OT. McCabe finished the game with 2 goals and led the Explorers with 2 scooped ground balls and 4 draw controls. Another standout for LaSalle was midfielder Allie Ilgenfritz, and the sophomore recorded a hat trick in the first half of the game and picked up a ground ball as well. Gabby Antonelli kept LaSalle in the game by recording 15 saves in the net. The Explorers' win against the UMBC Retrievers avenges the 6-7 home loss LaSalle suffered to them last season. I headed to the lacrosse team's next game at McCarthy Stadium against rival Temple. Take a look. Women's lacrosse took to frigid McCarthy Stadium for the first Big Five matchup of the year on Wednesday, February 18th. The Temple Owls showed up to the iced-out stadium ready to compete after last season's buzzer-beating upset. Coming off only one other game this season, the Explorers looked scrappy yet confident in their opening appearance. This definitely translated over to Wednesday as they took the field. The first face-off immediately displayed 2 even teams trapped in a deadlock. The first half went back and forth as both teams answered goal for goal. LaSalle kept control of the tie, though, with Temple playing catch-up. Freshman Rachel Seppo netted her first career goal right before the half to bring the score 4-3. However, Temple answered and brought it back into a tie with seconds left in the first. Now coming out of the half, LaSalle cut across the field with senior Claire Andrews ripping a shot into the corner to bring the lead to the Explorers. But once again, 21 seconds later, Temple rolled through LaSalle's defense to tie up the game. With the score tied at 7 now, LaSalle started to wear down as Temple's attack ripped apart the midfield. After a vicious goal to bring the score to 8, Temple followed up with another devastating goal to make it 9. The Explorers scrambled to bring possession over the Temple side, but the Owls kept LaSalle to the perimeter and burned up the remaining time in the half. The Explorer fans braved the cold for a tough loss. However, bright spots came in the form of Alana Diffendale scoring 2 goals and Aaron McCabe piping 1 and assisting with another. There is potential in the early season. Both of their past 2 games have been won by a 1-goal margin. Hopefully they fall into a rhythm as they take on Delaware on Wednesday, February 27th.
Escaping the frozen tundra that is DeVincent Field, men's baseball headed down to Florida for their season opener against Stetson on Friday, February 13th. A sunny triple-header down south, this set of games might have just set the tone for the rest of the season. Last year, the men lost all 3 consecutive opening games they played. However, the same cannot be said for this season because they dominated their first 2 games 3-0 and 11-2. Game 1 saw 7 LaSallian pitchers take the mound as they shut out the Hatters in 9 impressive innings. Senior Adam Cherry closed the game in the 9th with Billy Waswick snagging the final out. In both games, offensive powerhouses Justin Korenblatt and Josh Savanikis led the attack. Game 3 was a loss, but overall, the Explorers brought their record to 2-1. A much better start than last season, the men will be traveling to South Carolina for the next series of games. A young and eager team, hopefully they continue to ride this wave of confidence. Jake, how do you feel knowing that both lacrosse and baseball started their seasons off respectively?
You know what? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I think that this is a great, great start. Because last year, both of those teams, they lost in their first games coming straight out of the winter break and everything. So I think it's definitely going to be an interesting
You're just
first season.
shaking off the frost there, you know?
Oh,
You're
yeah,
trying to heat it up.
We're gonna make as many ice and snow puns as possible in this show.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Well, While lacrosse and baseball begin their own seasons, the rowing team sits tight for a few more weeks before hitting the water once more. To help the team's head coach kill time in this cold winter, I sat down and talked with him about Ohio, of all places. Take a look at our latest edition of Coaches and Coffee, produced by SportsLine's own Cody Barr. Hello, welcome to the second edition of Coaches and Coffee. Brendan Rigney here, alongside of me, Tom Madden, the coach for the rowing teams. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. I see you have your Ashes for Ash Wednesday.
I do, yeah.
Dates this a little bit, but that's okay. So I understand that. How long have you been here for LaSalle's rowing?
This is my second season.
Second season.
Leading the team. Yeah.
How are we feeling about the second season?
Pretty good. A lot of progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, progress is good.
Yeah.
Progress is good. I like progress. Where were you before you were head coaching for LaSalle?
Directly before coming to LaSalle, I was at LaSalle High School as the head coach there.
Cool.
So, and then previous to that, I was out in Ohio coaching Ohio State.
So you coached at LaSalle College High School?
I did.
I know so many people from there.
I also went there. So.
You went there too?
I
I'm a Roman Catholic boy.
Okay.
LaSalle College High School is my second choice.
Yeah.
So that's great. So you spent some time out in Ohio.
Yes.
You went to LaSalle College High School, so you're obviously
Yes.
from the area.
Yes.
What was Ohio like?
It was fun. Columbus was a fun town. It was kind of a smaller, cleaner, friendlier Philadelphia.
It's weird that you said it was fun in Ohio.
Yeah, it
Not
was.
to bash
No.
Ohio, but I typically don't hear the word fun and the state of Ohio put in a sentence together in such a positive way.
Both
So-
myself and my family is all from this area. My
Mm-hmm.
wife's family are from this area also. And if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have minded staying there.
Really?
Yeah, crazy.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't know why I am so flabbergasted by that. But
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
So when you were there, did you like switch to rooting for the Ohio sports teams or?
No, there's only one Columbus sports team that I ended up rooting for. The Columbus Crew, their soccer team,
Mm-hmm.
not because of crew and rowing, but because Philadelphia didn't have the union at the time.
That's a legitimate reason,
Yeah.
I believe. A friend of mine, Joe McCluskey, who may be watching, I don't even know if you remember me, but he was quoted in our yearbook saying that crew spelled backwards is work. And I know it's not spelled correctly, but the meaning is still there. Would you agree or disagree with that? I would hope you would agree. I mean, it would make
Totally agree.
tons of sense.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of work, depending on how you spell it, put in for a very short amount of racing time.
So it's a lot of effort for those 5 minutes or
Yeah.
even less often of competition.
Yeah, our standard race distance in the spring, 2,000 meters,
Mm-hmm.
ends up going anywhere from 6 to 7 minutes.
And I heard during the winter, since you can't necessarily go out into the water as often, rowers will spend hours on the erg machine. Is that true?
Yes,
Is that
much to their chagrin, they're on the erg much longer than they want to be. You come over to one of our practices, we'll run you through.
I don't. That would probably lead to some physical injury and a lot of embarrassment. So what do you spend? I mean, you spend a lot of time yelling at your crew members to row harder and faster and remain in shape. But what do you do when you're not coaching? What do you do in your free time?
Free time is an interesting thing in that I have 3 kids. I have twin 5-year-old daughters, Rebecca and Shannon, and a 9-month-old son, Nicholas. So most of and of course my wife, Faith, a lot of time revolves around that dynamic. So
it keeps you busy.
keeps you busy, yes. And at the end of the day, when all that's done, my dog then wants to go for a walk outside. So
You
it's
have a dog too? What
nice big dog, a golden doodle, Duke.
A golden doodle.
Yes, golden doodle, half golden retriever and half standard poodle.
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic name. So you spend a lot of time with your kids for obvious reasons. What do they like to do? What do they like to spend their free time? Since it's your free time that they're
Yeah.
spending, how do they spend
Right.
your free time?
We hit like the aquarium like in the wintertime, zoo in like spring, summertime. Go down the shore. My wife's from down the shore neck of the woods, so We like going down the shore on the weekends.
So do you spend your family vacations down the shore then? Or you like to get around?
Just more of like weekend visits rather than vacation, short spurts. It keeps everybody sane.
I think that's a very smart idea. So I guess it's time for our speed round.
Nice.
I'm just gonna rifle off a couple questions, and you're gonna answer with the first few words that come to mind.
Okay.
Okay. You mentioned you don't drink coffee.
Right.
What do you drink?
5 Hour Energy.
5 Hour Energy.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you watched on Netflix or on TV?
On Netflix, Archer. And
choice.
on TV, it's going to be bad. It was Dance Moms.
Dance Moms.
Yeah, my wife made me watch Dance Moms.
I was hoping you were going
Yeah.
to say I chose to watch Dance
no,
Moms.
no.
What is your favorite candy? Do you eat candy?
Reese's.
Reese, yes.
Yeah.
And finally, this is a Cody Barr special. What is your favorite flavor of Starburst?
I have to be strawberry.
Strawberry.
Yeah.
Strawberry. Okay. Well, thank you so much again for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
What a great guy, Jake. You know, he actually said he would help us get some shots if we were to go and shoot rowing.
And that is a dream, another dream of mine. All I'm going to say is I'm going to have to talk to Tanya Ellis about getting the SportsLine boat together. We could have a complete regatta going on.
Little LaSalle TV fleet there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, the women's basketball squad traveled to Richmond, Virginia on February 14th to take on the Richmond Spiders in A10 play. Siobhan Beslow hit a team-high 13 points in the game, with 11 of them coming in the first half. Heading to the locker room after 20 minutes of play, LaSalle trailed with a score of 37-29. In the second half, the team struggled to make anything happen offensively and was unable to stop the Spiders on defense. The Explorers managed to get within 7 points on a few occasions, but they could not cut any deficit any smaller, and eventually falling 72-60. The blue and gold shot for just over 40% from the field and were 0 for 7 from the three-point range.
After a big win against VCU last week, the men's basketball team had their hearts broken on Valentine's Day, falling to Davidson at home. Just as they did in the first half of the game, the Explorers started the second half off hot. Cleon Roberts' jump shot put LaSalle up 65-64 with just under 4 minutes left to play. However, the Wildcats started a huge 13-4 run to close out the game and defeat the Explorers 77-69. Roberts had 12 points of his own. Fellow transfer Jordan Price led the blue and gold once again with 22 points.
And the men returned to the Tom Gola Arena sporting their new gray uniforms on Wednesday to take on the Dukes of Duquesne. Looking to avenge the crushing blow they felt on Valentine's Day, LaSalle had one of their strongest first halves of the season, piling up 43 points. The Dukes fought back in half number 2, putting together 45 points of their own. However, the Explorers held strong and showed true team consistency by scoring 44 points and winning the game 87-72. Jordan Price paced LaSalle, scoring 19 points in his first 30 minutes of play. And Price was not only the only Explorer to reach double digits, however. He was joined by senior big man Jarrell Wright, who scored 14 points, and Khalid Lewis and Cleon Roberts with 13 points themselves. Coach Giannini was more than pleased after the game.
You know, there's a military saying that if you defend everything, you defend nothing. You know, if you try to do everything, you might not do anything that well. So you have to, what we talk about is attack and pass. You know, attack and pass and knock it down. Attack, pass, and score. Attack, pass, and score. We really emphasized that if their guards drove, to make them finish, make them make the two. And they made some. But we really emphasized making their guards into finishers and not putting them on the line. We knew what they were going to do, and we one of the reasons we struggled early in the year, Jordan and Cleon and DJ, his sophomore year, led the A10 in three-point percentage. But these guys are so unselfish. We literally had to beg them to shoot until like the last month. I mean, they're such good shooters, and you know they're finally getting to be comfortable and aggressive. They've been unselfish to a fault. You know, we're going to try to beat St. Louis and take it one at a time and see if we can get on a good long winning streak over here.
2.
And Valentine's weekend was special for more than just LaSalle's couples. The club ice hockey team won its first championship in team history. I had the pleasure of sitting down with team coach assistant Nick Bermani, John Kenny, and Stephen Rangione to learn more about this outstanding win and the unassuming season that led them to an incredible playoff run. Take a look. Hello and welcome to another edition of On the Sidelines. I'm your host for today, Jake Smolinski, and we have a very special day here in the studio. We are here with the men's ice hockey team. Got Nick Bermonti, assistant coach. We got John Kenny, goalie, and then we have Stephen Rangione, center and captain of the team. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously, okay. So this past weekend on Sunday, this marks a huge day for the entire ice hockey program here at LaSalle. What actually went down?
Well, I'll tell you, we won our first championship for the school in 29 years. It was an amazing feat. I'm still in shock. You know, I'm still in awe that we have this amazing trophy with us. I haven't really let it by my side. You know, I haven't left it, you know, since Sunday. But yeah, we were able to go into the playoffs as a 4 seed and come out on top as champions.
It's congratulations. Like, honestly, it's absolutely insane. So you said the last time they won, though, the 85 season, 85, 86?
85, 86, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's 29 years. It's a long time. It's longer than any of us in here, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And especially with this year, you guys bringing it back. I know we got the chance to sit down with you earlier in the season and everything, and you said you had some serious hopes that you guys are going to be like contenders this year. And I know the regular season, you guys were 7-5. Right? So how was that? Like, what changes did you guys make this past like regular season that kind of led up to this?
To be honest with you, we actually had a fairly good regular season. Our first half went pretty smoothly. Our second half started off well. We actually lost our last 2 games to Lafayette and Kutztown. And ironically enough, those were our last 2 wins as well in the playoffs. So I think, you know, losing our last 2 games kind of gave us a reality check that the playoffs weren't going to be a cakewalk. We realized that, hey, we really need to kick it into, you know, second gear if we want to come home as champions. And I mean, really, everybody did, from offense to defense to especially goaltending. Yeah. Everybody rose to the occasion, and really, I don't think anybody could have beat us that weekend.
That's absolutely incredible. And okay, but first though, I want to talk, because you are a freshman here at LaSalle. What is that like, making the transition? Like, did you play hockey coming before in here?
Yeah, I played my whole life, so I've been playing goalie since I was 13. I played my club hockey for the Hatfield Ice Dogs, and I played my high school hockey for Archbishop Ryan. And coming in, playing college hockey is a huge transition. It's a lot faster. The guys are a lot bigger. But I think I had a pretty good season overall for being a freshman in the league. So.
I heard that you were the MVP of the entire playoff tournament.
I did. I got MVP. So.
It's a nice little season. That's awesome.
He's
yeah.
not giving himself enough credit. Listen, if it wasn't for this guy right here, we would not be here with this trophy right now. He can attest to that. Yeah. He won't admit it, but everybody on the team knows it, that this guy is the reason why we won.
I think everyone definitely came together over playoffs and really, like Ramani said, just put it into full gear. Everyone, from the last Lafayette game of the season, I think everybody just, the transition and going into playoffs, everyone wanted this win. And we were a great group of guys coming into it. We all played very well all season together. But we wanted this win, and we definitely deserved it. So.
All right. So now I want you to walk me through this playoff run. So what was the deal? Like, who were you guys playing against first? Like, how'd it go?
All right. So Friday night we came in, and we were the 4th seed coming in. We played the 5th seed. 6th. The 6th seed. Yeah. Sorry about that. That was Bucknell, and we beat them by 1 goal. It was a very close game. You know, you can tell just because it's playoffs, you know, the games are a lot more high stakes, you know, it's a lot quicker games. So Saturday we came back in and we had Kutztown, who was the #1 seed and a pretty big rival of ours. And like Nick said, we had lost to them, you know, a few weeks prior. So, you know, everyone before the game was just, you know, ready to go, really ready to go out and get a win.
You know, you were just saying, though, too, that Kutztown, they had a whole, like, preparation. Like
they had probably as expensive as a system as we have in this room right now. I mean, they were going all out. They had about 2 cameras up top. They had a camera doing player interviews before the game. And I'll tell you what, I think that in itself sparked a fire underneath me, because there's nothing more I like to do than ruin movies. And I think we just really ruined a classic for Kutztown.
So what was the last couple minutes like for that game, especially for you as a goalie?
Well, the Kutztown game, I was really tired. Saw a lot of shots, and they just kept coming, and they pulled their goalie with about 2 minutes left in the game, and I was expecting one of our players to shoot it in, but instead he passed it, and the play ended up coming back in my direction, and this guy just ripped a shot, went right off the post, and went out of play. But I was like, those last couple minutes were super shaky for me. But somehow I pulled myself together and played well under the pressure and got us through the game.
And then was there one more game after that?
Yeah, that was actually, beating Kutztown, like I was telling you before, it was really like the miracle on ice for us. That was us beating, the Soviets. And then going into Sunday, it was, we had to play Lafayette, who, they beat us in the last game of the year. So we had to really, refocus and realize that, hey, second place isn't anything. We need to come in and we need to be ready to win. And we went out there Sunday, and after losing to Lafayette the last game of the season, I knew this guy wasn't going to lose again. Yeah. I knew he wasn't going to lose again, and I had 100% confidence that everybody was going to rise together and rise to the occasion and get the win, and that's what we did, 8-5 victory.
Congratulations. It's absolutely incredible. And just want to ask, what's next for the LaSalle hockey program?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. We got to get everything together. We want to celebrate the win. We want to let that, kick in, let us, really realize what we actually did. And then couple guys, I'm graduating. One of our senior leading point scorers is graduating, Mike Thompson. We got a couple guys that are coming back. Steven is our captain. He's going to be a senior next year.
Solid group of freshmen.
John is only going to be a sophomore. We had a very, very good group of freshmen come in this year. So if the freshmen can continue to grow their game and the soon-to-be seniors can continue their leadership, I don't think we'll have any problem repeating.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. It's great to hear about everything that's been going on. That trophy's incredible.
It's just so much, man. It's great.
So anyway, that's it for On the Sidelines. Back to you guys. A great group of guys. Okay, but now it's time for some exploring headlines. So once again, Q&A host Eddie Dunn joins us to give you the latest. Take it away, Eddie.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's get to it. Along with helping her team win its season opener, Lacrosse goalkeeper Gabby Antonelli has been named A10 Defender of the Week. Sharing the award with Kate Farnham of Massachusetts, the sophomore tallied 15 saves in the overtime win against UMBC. The baseball team's own quick start helped them pick up both Big Five awards after their 2 wins and 1 loss against Stetson. Senior Josh Savanikis had a tremendous time against the Hatters, batting a .462 in the 2 wins and a .692 over all 3 to earn Big Five Player of the Week honors. On the mound, junior Joey Ravert earned Pitcher of the Week after restricting Stetson to 1 run over 5 innings and allowing 2 hits while striking out 3 batters. As if we didn't have reason to talk about him enough, men's basketball's Jordan Price earned himself Player of the Week honors in the A10, Big Five, and ECAC South. In the 2 games against VCU and Davidson, the transfer averaged 28 points and over 10 rebounds per game. His 34 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists against VCU set career highs and also gave him his first double-double. Big news for the women's cross-country team. Freshman Megan Connell has been chosen to represent the country at the 2015 APA Pan American Cross Country Cup in Columbia on February the 22nd. The A10 All-Conference runner follows up a strong performance in the Atlantic 10 finale by being the first explorer to compete in the Pan American Championships.
Well, thanks for joining us, Eddie.
And now that we've covered the past, let's look to the future. Tim Durante brings us this week's marquee matchup, so check it out.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Marquee Matchup. I'm Tim Durante. For this week's segment, we highlight the LaSalle's men's swimming and diving team as they compete in their Atlantic 10 Conference meet, which started Wednesday, February 18th, and is continuing on to Saturday, February 21st. The team is competing in a 4-day event in Geneva, Ohio. The Explorers are going into the championship meet to show the rest of the conference that they are a team that deserves recognition for the success this season. As they finish with a record of 8 wins, 1 loss to Philadelphia rival Penn, the Explorers thus far had an excellent season, but now it's time for them to make their mark in this year's Atlantic 10 Championship. For the Explorers to make their mark in the conference, they will need great performance from junior Johan Roth and junior CJ Gimple. Roth is the team's top breaststroker, and they will need his talents to overcome the rest in the conference. Roth's main event, including the 200 breaststroke, as he's the conference reigning champion in this event and has won it both his freshman and sophomore year, breaking school records with a time of 1 minute and 59.15 seconds. This year, the team will need his speed, his leadership, and support to make an impact on the meet. For LaSalle to be put in position to win the conference, they will need Roth to reach the top of the podium for a third straight year. Gimple is the Explorers' most experienced diver. When it comes to the Atlantic 10 Conference meet, Gimple made himself known at last year's Atlantic 10 Conference as he placed third in the 1 meter competition, getting crucial points for the Explorers this year. The Explorers are going to need a similar performance out of Gimple as teams like University of Massachusetts get a lot of their points off the diving section of the meet. If Gimple is able to slow down his opponents and execute his dives like his teammates know he can, then hopefully we will see Gimple reach the podium for a second consecutive year. Now our keys to the meet. The necessary things the Explorers must do in order to come out of the conference meet successfully is to stay poised, believe in what the coaching staff tells them, and to stay well rested. Staying poised is a big concept, especially while competing in a conference meet, as the swimmers and divers must be able to collect themselves before their events and stay focused. A sport like swimming and diving, much focus is needed for efficient execution. Technique is another key. As much technique is required for an efficient race, whether it's the turn, the start, the stroke, or finish, every second matters in the water. So if the coaching staff must be on top of their game to help the athletes in every possible manner of their technique. Finally, with the meet being an all-day competition for 4 straight days, it is important for the swimmers and divers to remain well-rested for their week full of events. Fatigue can play a big disadvantage to anyone who is ill-prepared for their event. This is something the Explorers would like to avoid on their pursuit to victory. You can stay tuned and up to date for all the events with the men's swimming and diving team through online streaming on Atlantic10.com for this week's marquee matchup. I'm Tim Durante. Go Explorers.
LaSalle's track and field team is also preparing for their own Atlantic 10 championship. Teams have been working hard all season to reach this point, and we wish them the best of luck as well at the University of Rhode Island for preliminaries and finals. However, one explorer who looks to race at A10s also continues a triumph of her own, a healthy diet and positive outlook despite her struggle with an eating disorder. Cody, Barr, and I had the chance to sit down with Becca Scartoletti to hear her story. Very proud of it, okay.
Which is kind of embarrassing to say because it's not something that you should be proud of at all. But I wouldn't brag about it, but I'd kind of be like, if I was the thinnest one in the room, then I had won. Like that was my own personal battle.
An inspirational story if I've ever seen one. Be sure to tune in next week for the full story.
Indeed, Brendan. But that just about wraps it up for us this week. And if you can't make it out to see the marquee matchup, make sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Be sure to keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by following us on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We post game updates and sneak peeks into the upcoming show.
Also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions about the show on either website.
For Eddie and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Jake Smolinski.
And I'm Brendan Rigney. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the game.